It's November 10th, 2025. My name is Katie Ellman. I am the chair of the Housing Committee. I'm grateful to be joined by other committee members, board members, members of the public, our district manager, and our guests from the developer of two projects, two universal affordability preference projects, which are part of the inclusionary housing program. Our first speaker this evening is Kevin Paris from HPD. Welcoming him again to our meeting. He's been incredibly helpful to this committee and the board over many years, so I'm happy that he's here tonight to share information about this program. Kevin has another appointment or engagement or commitment, whatever you want to call it, immediately after he speaks. So if we can reserve questions to members of the committee, and if you have any questions in the chat, and we can get answers from him through Florence after the meeting. They also may come up again with the next guests. So I will turn things over to Kevin.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, for the very nice introduction. And I thank you and to everyone on the board. I just want to do a mic check, make sure folks can hear me. Awesome. So tonight, I know the board has before it two UAP applications. What I wanted to do was offer some information and guidance as to what UAP is. As Katie mentioned, it's the Universal Affordability Preference. And this is a policy that was enacted last December of 2024, as part of the City of Yes initiative that was going through the city. I want to make sure that the board has this information as it hears the applications later tonight. And as mentioned, if any questions come up, I can stick around for a couple of questions, but then, I work with Florence, as I do with all of the district managers across this fine borough. And so if there's any questions that need to be followed up on after this meeting or during this meeting, you can directly kick those over to your district manager. She'll get them over to me and I'll be able to provide that information back to the board. So what is the Universal Affordability Preference? Well, this is a new policy that allows buildings that are within the medium and high density districts. So we're looking at our R6s to our R10s. And these are districts that are outside of MIH areas or mandatory inclusionary housing areas. It allows these buildings to add at least 20% more housing into their projects, provided that the additional homes and the additional units in that project are permanently income restricted and affordable to households that are earning on average of 60% of the area median income, or AMI. As these are income restricted units, HPD is the agency that's responsible for the administration of the Universal Affordability Preference. So what exactly needs to happen when applicants are looking to provide this? Well, there's an application form that's on the HPD website, and applicants have to complete the UAP affordability housing application and provide that application to HPD. In concert with the submission of that application, the team has to also provide the notification to the affected community board. So tonight you will hear two applications. Part of their submission to HPD is to also provide notification to the community board as an FYI, as a notification that this is a project that's happening in your district. Now, it's up to the community board to welcome further information from the development team, or to even, as you've done tonight, invite them to speak about the project that's coming. That's all part of the process. It's a notification to the community board, providing the community board with the information about the project. And sometimes that means, come in and share with us what's happening as part of your project. Once that process is done, once the application is in HPD and they've done their due diligence with the affected community, the application is then reviewed and then it's completed. And if it's approved, the developer or the owner must execute a restrictive declaration, which would be approved by HPD, and this would be recorded against the property that's containing the affordable units. And as you know, these restrictions run with the land. So that's that's a look into what UAP is. I want to take a quick pause there if there's any immediate questions from the board, or any specifics of UAP that I have not already hit. And I do have some time to take a couple questions.
Are there any board members that have immediate questions? So these are projects on, there's no zoning variances. These are projects that are coming through on sites in the community. And the developers had to apply through HPD's process. And it's 60% AMI for every,
On average, yeah,
on
it's an
average.
average, yes.
Is it ever, so it could be lower?
So on average means that you can have units above and below 60, but all the totality would be average out to 60% AMI.
Okay. And does the total number of units per project that are income restricted vary by project?
Yes, so the way it's written in the zoning text, let me just take a quick look in the zoning resolution, is that they can build 20% more of whatever they're building on site. So that 20% is going to be incumbent on what is actually developable on that specific site. It'll be 20% more of what they can what they can do on their own.
If they include this affordable piece?
That 20%, they're all income restricted permanently.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Are there any board members not on the committee that have any questions? Christina?
I just wanted clarification on income restricted, because that's just a term that was kind of vague and doesn't necessarily always mean affordability and deep affordability. So I want to know, like, for example, the average NYCHA resident makes about 25K. Will they be able to access these units?
So that's my understanding. I'll get back to the board with that specifics on what's regarded to with the income restricted. But I believe that's the case, yes. I guess if I didn't mention as well, because this is administered through HPD, these will be lottery units as well. These units will be going through Housing Connect.
Thank you for that. Thank you for asking that question, Christina. Are there any other questions from board members or committee members? I have a question. So this is about a year old. This, Kevin, you said was it last year? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Yes, this was established December of 2024.
Okay.
So relatively new.
And is this related? This is related to City of Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give the briefest summary of City of Yes to those that may not be aware what
So
it is?
this would be, I believe this should have been under the housing opportunity. City of Yes was a comprehensive rebranding of the zoning resolution under different, I'm going to blank on the right term. I want to say topic headings. We had like climate resiliency, housing opportunity, economic development. So this would fall under the housing opportunity sort of branch of the whole City of Yes initiative.
Thank you for that. That was much more succinct. than I would have said. If there aren't any other questions, if there's anything that you would like to add or share with the committee. Wait, Christina?
I'm sorry, this is actually more a point of information because we kind of talked a little bit, I think, about these same projects in land use. And, our biggest concern was the height, especially in contrast to the rest of the surrounding buildings. And, every now and then you have that one, I saw that was a project that was, you know, um, accepted for lack of better terms. My concern is how do we ensure that this development is in line with the character of the neighborhood and doesn't really uh, what my residents would say is, why are they trying to turn Queens into the city? That's what they say all the time, meaning one time. And, it's just nuts to me. Little by little, things are becoming unfamiliar on the same land I grew up on. And so how do we ensure these projects honor that neighborhood character?
Would we say that, sorry, Kevin, this is for 31st Street. So do you know offhand, Florence, Kevin, anyone from the team, what is the current zoning there? So it would have to be in the same current zoning of these sites, which is what?
And for those that are the committee members, this is the area on Ditmars, right by the pizza shop that closed down on 31st and Ditmars. This is one of the project sites. And so as we can recollect, a lot of them are 1 to 2 story, 3-story buildings. But because of previous rezonings, I don't know if that set a precedence for development rights. But I just wanted everyone to remember in their mind the neighborhood we're talking about.
Oh, sorry, and I misspoke. One is 31st Street and one is 21st Street.
Exactly. But
So
both
around
very
Astoria
similar.
Boulevard, yeah.
Uh-huh. Of the 1 to 2 family homes and whatnot, and small businesses.
So I was just looking it up really quick. So the 31st Street property is in an R6A. So it definitely falls within the UAP. And R6A, hey, R6A is quality housing. Give me 1 second.
So that would be the height of the Rowan. Is that how tall that would be? Can someone answer that? That's the across the street, across 31st Street, the newer development. Is that R6A? Florence?
Can read you what an R6A is. The Rowan, I believe, is 4 to 5 stories, no higher. This development is getting the extra space, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin, correct me, because of the HPD. Would you like me to read what an R6A is?
Yes, please.
R6 zoning districts are widely mapped in built-up medium-density areas in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. The character of R6 districts can range from neighborhoods with a diverse mix of building types and heights to a large-scale tower in the park. Developments such as Ravenswood in Queens and Homecrest in Brooklyn. Developers can choose between 2 sets of bulk regulations. Standard height factor regulations introduced in 1961 produce small multifamily buildings on zoning lots, and on larger lots, tall buildings that are set back from the street. Optional quality housing regulations produce high lot coverage buildings within height limits and often reflect the scale of older pre-1961 apartment buildings in the neighborhood. Now, this is pre-City of Yes. So that's what they have listed pre-City of Yes.
Thank you. Florence or Bobby?
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for the info here. I was wondering if you could just recap, just because I was trying to track this, but across the projects that are, referenced or included in this, do you have like an estimate for how many units of housing, will be additional, or at least could be additional, as a part of this rule or this variance that's applied on the income side? Like I know it's a 20% more, right, across the individual projects, but based on do we know the scale or like how many units and stuff might already be considered here and what that 20% might translate to, even if it's like a rough amount of additional housing units being supplied?
What's the geography that you're thinking of with your question?
Just like across the projects that are applicable or like included in what we're talking about here, what that could translate to in terms of new, like
Yeah.
additional housing units, like what that 20% might
Would
be,
look like.
in terms of like a
Yeah.
fixed number.
I see where you're going. So I don't have that number in front of me. I mean, the universe for that will be all private sites, not in MIH areas, for example, in Community Board 1. And then you would just apply like the 20% to that. I think that's how you would get to that number. I don't have that number generated, but that's something, definitely could be working with the board to get a rough estimate of what that looks like.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I always feel like it helps contextualize, right? When we can, 20% sounds great, and all that. And I think it's helpful just also hear the numbers in terms of like actual housing units, even if it is like a range, because I'm sure some of these projects don't have, their exact details worked out just yet.
Appreciate it.
But thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Bobby. Florence?
So Bobby, if you go on to the Land Use Zoning Committee, there was some discussion about the first project with the numbers. And the next project, when they do their presentation, they're going to give you a general idea of numbers. As far as I know, these are the first two to come before our board. So you'll be able to get that information with this presentation, which Kevin isn't really a part of. But we can keep in touch with HPD and try to accrue numbers as these projects start to come in, if they're able to do that. That would be at the discretion of HPD.
That'd be great. Awesome. Thank you.
And to follow up on that, HPD will be keeping that data and information somewhere that will be publicly accessible, Kevin, or is it too soon?
I like to lean towards too soon, but definitely that information will be stored somewhere. And I right now wouldn't be able to talk about like how that information is accessed, but the board will also have that same information because the projects will be coming to you via the notifications. But definitely, as I learn more about like where this data is going to be located, I'll be sharing that with the board.
Thank you. Phone number, someone calling in, 718-278-6736. Are you a member? Can you just?
This is Daniel Aliberti.
Oh, hi, Daniel. I'm sorry. I don't know your phone. I don't know your number.
That's quite all right. May I
Feel
speak?
free to ask a question.
Yeah, where on 31st Street is this that we're talking about? Is this where the pizza place used to be on that side of the street, or is it the others? Where is this?
Yes.
This that's confirmation
hear.
that this is the Pizza Palace, the former Pizza Palace? No?
It's no,
Which
it's
one
that
is it?
same side. It's not that lot, but it's on that same.
So is it between Ditmars and 21st Avenue on that side of the street?
Well, to give you looking at the paperwork, it says 21-66 31st Street.
Okay. That answers the question. Yeah, it is on the west side. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Also, it says for this particular project that it will consist of 24 residential dwelling units and 5 units would be for moderate income tenants, according to the paperwork given to HPD. I'll just forward this to you, Katie, because I don't know if you got this, but this is from land use.
Yeah. Thank you, Christina.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot of overlap with this committee and land use and zoning. But we're grateful that Kevin is here and the development team is here to share more information with us. With that being said, I'm being mindful of the time. Kevin, if there are any other questions from board or committee members, please ask them now, or we can compile them and share them with Kevin after this meeting. Otherwise, I would like to move forward to hear from the teams behind these two projects. Kevin, any final words for us tonight?
No final words, just thank you for having me and thank you for the questions. I'll have my follow-up and I'll do that with Florence. And let's listen to the presentations for these two projects and ask the questions that you need to ask. And if you need follow-up with me and my team, I'm here to help. Thank you all and you have a good night.
Thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead, Florence.
First, item 1 for 31st Street, as we discussed at the Land Use Committee, will not be attending tonight's meeting. Item 2, 27, 28, 21st Street, the team is on deck to be here. They have several representatives. I sent you their names.
Yes, thank you. Just to reiterate Christina's point, that these items were discussed last week at the Land Use and Zoning Committee meeting. So separately, I will email the group and Florence and the board chair a recap of that, and also any other notes that we can share, just so we're informed about it. And if the team that's here for the 21st Street project, if you could introduce yourselves, and then is someone sharing a deck with us? Or yes? Yes. Okay. So if you could briefly introduce yourselves and then feel free to start sharing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ting Paka. I'm a real estate partner at the law firm Adler and Stackenfeld, where I co-chair our New York City Real Estate Tax and Incentives Practice Group. And tonight, I'm before you representing the applicant on this UAP application. I'll let ownership and the architects who are here as well introduce themselves. And I'm joined here by my associate, Scott Schreiber. So, ownership.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. My name is DK Wang. I am owner's representative for this development project. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Architect.
Okay. Hi. Yes. Hi. I'm Andrew Shi from Chimera Architecture. I'm the project architect for this project. So our firm has extensive experience in multifamily house residential projects, including many that incorporate affordable unit housing components such as MAH, BIH, and UAP now. So we've been working closely with the client team and the consultants to thoughtfully develop this project. I'm happy to dive more into the project later.
So very briefly, this project located at 27-28 21st Street is going to be a 50 unit. It's going to be a 50 unit project. It's a hybrid UAP and 485X project. So we are presenting to you today one UAP affordable unit to satisfy the UAP requirements and benefits that we are seeking. However, this project will have more than a single affordable unit. Of the 50, there will be a total of 10 affordable units. So of those 10, one of them will be designated as both UAP and 45X affordable, and then the remaining 9 will be just for 85X affordable. So we can answer questions after Andrew's brief presentation. So Andrew, if you'll share your screen.
Yes. Can you guys see the screen? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. The address, again, just to reiterate, the address for the project is 2728 21st Street. It's located on an interior lot that faces 21st Street, which is a wide street. The closest cross streets are 28th Avenue and 27th Road. The surrounding context includes a combination of low-rise mixed-use buildings with commercial, manufacturing, and community facility uses on the street level, and multifamily residential buildings, several which are similar in height and number of stories to our proposed design. We're showing a few of those examples here. And as this is a relatively narrow lot, it's 50 feet wide. Our goal has been to maximize the size potential and provide sufficient housing units. To achieve this, we're proposing the 485X and UAP affordable housing to unlock the additional high bonus. This approach enables us to accommodate the full floor area and number of dwelling units we envisioned for the site. I'll jump to this slide. This slide is shows the unit distribution. The proposed design includes a total of 50 residential units, 40 market rate, and 10 affordable. The affordable units are evenly distributed across multiple floors and include a range of unit types. One of these affordable units is also designated as the UAP affordable unit, highlighted here in yellow. The UAP unit is a 2-bedroom apartment and will be larger than all the other market rate 2-bedroom units. The proposed design is a 14-story, 145 feet tall building. The facade is comprised of 3 vertical bays featuring proportionate stacked articulation that frame the windows to create a classical look. This approach breaks down the scale of the facade to allow the building to blend naturally into the existing streetscape. Here are some initial renderings that showcase the proposed design. The materials we're envisioning is light-colored cast concrete panels and dark metal window frames on the street frontage and stucco cladding on the sides and rear. The light beige color palette complements the surrounding context, which is characterized by red, orange, and beige brick buildings. Now, looking at the plans, on the ground floor, as you enter the building from the sidewalk, you'll find a spacious tenant lounge and co-working space to the right of the reception. In the rear yard, we're also providing additional exterior and interior recreational space. The cellar level will have a fitness center and tenant storage units, along with the essential building utility spaces. There will be 2 residential units on the ground floor. The rest of the 48 will be distributed across second through 14 story. On the roof level, we're also posing additional outdoor recreation space. This last slide is just illustrating the look and the feel of kind of the modern amenity spaces where we're envisioning for tenants and for this project. Yeah, that'll be my presentation of the project.
So this is the conclusion of our presentation. So we welcome any questions that the community may have for us.
Thank you very much. We'll start with Dan.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I have a quick question, and that is, this building is on the west side of 21st Street, which is quite a wide and busy thoroughfare, cars, trucks, buses. Quite a bit of noise and quite a bit of pollution. Have you addressed, or how have you addressed pollution and noise from the street for the people living in the front of the building in particular, on the 21st Street side of the building? How will they be protected from the pollution and the noise pollution? Thank you.
Yes, I can address this a little bit. I think in terms of noise, we are definitely in our design process where we have considered that. Then, so we'll make sure that all the products that we specify that there's this rating called OITC that will make sure that's how good of an insulation of the sound product is, the windows. So we'll make sure the product we specify in the end will make sure the interior level of the noise will be under the city-wide regulation, which is 45 dB. So yeah, that's already factoring into our design, and then we're already specifying the products with certain level of OIPC rating.
Is that 45 decibels daytime, nighttime, or across the board?
Across the board, yeah, like the highest level cannot
Thank you.
exceed that. Yes.
Any other questions from committee and board members? Go ahead, Dan. Do you have another question, Dan?
No, I don't.
Okay. I have a question. Just can you just remind us what the timeline is for this?
DK, you wanna?
Sure. So we are planning to start construction next year, Q1, around January or February. So usually foundation work will take about 3 months to 5 months. And then after that, the vertical superstructure, like the concrete, columns and floor slabs will take about 2 months or so, 2, 3 months. Um, and then after that, we're gonna start installing the facade, which is the walls and windows of the building. So the total project timeline for building this size, we expect around a year and a half to 2 years. So that's what we're trying to achieve in here. Usually the foundation is like the most hard to control part. So we're trying to build it as fast as we could to deliver these units to the city. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And City of Yes, someone can confirm this with me. There are no parking requirements, correct? No requirement for parking spots.
For this project specifically, it's because it's a niche narrow lot, so it's already under the threshold of parking requirement, just based on the as of right zoning.
Got it. Is it possible to share that the breakdown of the units and the proposed rent roll?
Mm.
It's
You mean
obviously,
the
yeah, this is what I was talking about. The cost per the square feet. And are there proposed rents yet? For at least for the affordable units?
Not yet. We're still working through the numbers and figuring out how the affordable units are going to be distributed. The single UAP unit that's highlighted, that will be at 60 AMI as required by the UAP program.
Okay. And this is are you able to share this presentation with the board often?
Yes, I believe we've already submitted it to Florence.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Christina and Bobby or any other board or committee members have questions right now? Well, obviously, this is an as of right project. And we appreciate your coming before us to just keep us informed because we're often not as informed as we would like to be about projects that come into the community that are as of right. But obviously, I'm not sure what concerns, if any, you've heard, but there are concerns about density in certain locations, even though 21st Street was rezoned for more density. And the city deemed that it can handle higher density projects, even though it is currently, one of the most heavily trafficked streets in our community. But I think the concern with this project, at least by community members, and also it's being talked about in the chat, is the fact that there are lower density, lower rise buildings around it, and concerns about that. Now, maybe you said in the beginning and I didn't miss it, but do you have other projects that have been that have come online in our community that you can tell us about?
I believe that's directed to ownership.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for us, this is our only rental project in the area. And the surrounding buildings, we do have some, this image that Andrew, this slide that Andrew put together shows that there are some higher density buildings in the immediate context. So like 26-38 21st Street is also a 14-story building. There's multiple, like the building next door is 12 stories. And so we are trying to blend into the context, and this is a as of right development. We're not trying to get a zoning variance. We're doing what the zoning code allows us to do. And we just like to come to the board and keep everybody informed and give everyone a peek of the building that we are proposing. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We understand that. And the concerns that you're hearing are not unique to your project. So it's not personal. It's an across the board thing that many community members and members of this committee and the board feel that, you know, our communities absorb or are plan to absorb a lot of the housing needs for the rest of the city. So there is a lot of concern about that. And we do appreciate your coming and sharing this before us. And, you know, I'm sure those of you that have done this a lot know that people have genuine concerns and want what's best for their community while also acknowledging the housing needs of our entire city. Christina, Corinne, I'm calling people's names out, Phyllis, Shahanaz, Bobby. If there aren't any other questions, I would like to, we can send follow-ups if we have them. Obviously, we'll have this presentation, but I would like to end this portion of the meeting to then just have a committee discussion. If people still have time. It's 7:17 p.m.
Okay, Katie, you're on mute.
Thank you for that. Any final thoughts from this 27, 28, 21st Street before we conclude this section? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. We will send any additional questions through our district manager, Florence. Okay, thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for having us.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Okay. So there are a few committee members here. I think this goes back for those of us that were at the September meeting, either for land use or housing, when we discussed the need and the desire for Christina, to give credit to Christina to come up with a rubric or criteria for housing, future housing for our community. Obviously, this is an as of right project. So it's not something that we're voting on, but it's stirring a lot of feelings and emotions about density and our overtaxed systems in our community. So I just wanted to be able to hear what others are thinking or feeling about this project and the other project that we didn't hear a presentation on. And then obviously just to then say, there hasn't been more talk about it recently, but we do want to have a joint committee, task force, whatever you want to call it, subcommittee of land use and zoning and housing committee members to come up with these guidelines that we can then present to elected officials and potential developers that come before the board. So I just wanted to open, if people feel comfortable and they want to discuss this here, that would be great. But I just know that not everyone is thrilled with these new projects. So I just wanted to offer a space to be able to discuss it as a committee. Obviously, we can't vote on Zoom, but it's just a space to discuss before the next board meeting when this will be part of our committee report. Thanks, Florence. Florence sent the PDF of the presentation to members of the committee. Thank you, Florence. So besides Christina, please.
Well, I mean, just to, I guess, contextualize and get the ball going. I, I work in land use, and nonprofit legal service provider. And our whole thing is equitable development and figuring out how to support community-based orgs and ensuring that they're not displaced from their neighborhoods. And so that's the stance, and not just my work, but I just in life, like, you know, understanding the history and trajectory of just constant displacement. That is the story of New York City, honestly. And figuring out how we try to harm as little as possible. And so understanding the climate we're in right now, when we have hundreds of thousands of homeless folks, and even more housing unstable folks, like what can we do as a community board to really set a precedent in what kind of development we want in our neighborhood that's truly equitable? And although we're in housing right now, I think, you know, even just let, you know, plots of land that's for community gardens is also something that, you know, I've just seen so much of us started to be eaten up by like large real estate developers that just want to make a buck instead of like actual community development. And I'm just trying to figure out, I can't really, you know, what's the fine line? What are the boundaries? How do we try to find a compromise? Because there's only so much we can do as a community board, but if we can ensure that we set a precedence of what equitable development looks like, I think that could be meaningful and powerful for New York City as a large, because we are not the only community board dealing with this. That's all.
Thank you for that. Bobby?
Yeah, I was wondering, and it might have been presented and I missed it, but what is this development replacing right now? Like what is on that land at the moment? Is there like a useful structure, a building, or is it yeah, something that's
For the
empty?
31st Street one, it was like I think a place for, it was commercial, forget, it's something to do like signs or something. It was like a small business basically, and people would pull up.
Florence? Sorry,
It's okay, it's
Florence,
okay.
do you know? I just if she has it.
Yeah, so it was a three-family house with the store downstairs, and I understand that the second one, the one who came tonight to present, I understand that they're a car glass company, that they do glass work.
Yeah, sorry, the one on 21st Street's the auto glass, and the one on 31st Street was small family home.
Yeah, I guess my reason for asking is like from, you know, I know that there's a lot of important points being brought up about, you know, the metrics of affordability that we use, but also this sounds like net adding to the housing stock, which like does have a good general market impact, right? In terms of like providing more housing in general across the board in the neighborhood. I think like just in terms of discussion in this committee, I would like to hear like that's my general take. I'd love to hear if there's like, you know, I know like the loss of a small family home does have like an implication in like what types of people are living in one versus the other. But there is like, I guess it seems to me like on a broader like whole neighborhood slash, you know, district level, adding more units of housing will have like a general improving effect, like, you know, bring down the cost of housing in general, to reduce the constraints. But, you know, I'm curious to hear, Christina, I feel like you probably have insights on this too. And this is mostly me asking for my own knowledge, you know, because I am newer to the housing side of this.
It's all good. I mean, just a direct response, and then I'll mute because I want to make room for other folks. The why I always, yes, we need more affordable housing. Let's build more public housing is always where I'm coming from, right? But I don't know the political well. My fear when it comes to private housing is that when you build more units for more higher income earners, what that does, especially for area median income, is that it pushes up that median and that bridge. And so the more higher earner incomes the higher AMI is, it's like a threshold that every year, and you will see if you look at AMI,
Right, it's like a
it
cycle.
increases. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And it's
the
like if we
law, the
keep
largest
using
number.
this definition, yeah, then that definition is, yeah.
Yeah,
Are
and
there
same thing with
alternatives in the
MIH.
city structure? Oh,
I
MIH.
mean, there's fair market rent, but not very much. That's more for like Section 8. It's not necessarily in the MIH or well, not fortunately, the new replacement one. Uh, my concern, and I mean, this is the other thing with that as of right thing. It's like, well, what do we really have to say? We can be like, no, we're not really fond of this. But for the other projects with MIH, I just and maybe this is something we can do as a larger community board coalition in the future. I don't know what that looks like and what power we have in doing that. We obviously need to change MIH because it's what MIH is at the core of is building more luxury housing. It's 75 to 80% luxury housing and with sprinkles of quote unquote affordable. And we're duplicating this over and over again and expecting just affordable housing to come from the sky. And it's a systemic structural thing. And if we're not changing the formulas, we're not changing um, AMI, MIH, all these other structures, then our hands are tied as a community board. You know what I mean? Because obviously I want affordable housing. I recently was looking what a 2-bedroom apartment. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment here in Ravenswood. I would love to, fly from my nest, but I would not be able to. I'd have to resign from the board. I would not be able to live in a store anymore if I'm trying to really, live on my means and not be in debt for the rest of my life. And that's just me. And I'm in a good place. I can't fathom what working class and folks on the income restrict, with actual income restrictions are going through on the psychic level and super freaking scary. And I'm just trying to figure out how do we ensure housing for all, which is like what they're saying, right? But like housing for people who are working, actual jobs but are in shelters right now. So that's what I'm more concerned about.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for bringing that up, Bobby. We hear about that a lot and the success stories of that in other cities. And that if there was more housing, then the prices would come down. But we haven't necessarily seen that, especially in Queens Plaza, where there's a boom of housing and the rents are never really fell except in, the initial part of the pandemic. Besides the MIH, it's the AMI that is broken since it's not hyper focused and hyper local. It's a larger swath of the geography where there are higher incomes. And so that automatically tips the scales toward pricing out a lot of neighbors and longtime community members. So Christina's points are all very strong and I agree with them. And we are in a position of where, we're always slightly behind where the city makes these decisions and the board is advisory. And then, we have to, for me, there's a little bit of a sense of panic of like, well, how do we get ahead of this? And I think the only way is to come up with our own so-called standards, for lack of a better word, and then put them out there in tandem with the land use and zoning committee, which Christina and I are both on both of those committees. And I think that I'm glad that the developer and their team came to present the project because they didn't have to. So in that regard, they're doing their due diligence, but it seems like one of the units being part of this new project, the UAP program, it just seems really ridiculous. And it never seems enough, and it always seems like it's too expensive for a lot of these projects. So I know I'm repeating what others have said and what I've said at other meetings. but we don't usually have a lot of time together. So I just wanted to be able to have committee members and board members to be able to share any of their thoughts about this going forward, to help inform the work that this soon to be convened joint committee does, and also what we can share with the board, the broader board at our monthly meetings. It's obviously housing. Everyone is very passionate about it. And, you know, it is all a little disappointing that there's just 10 units and they get a lot more square footage for just producing one unit based on the UAP guidelines. So that is a little unfortunate in my opinion. So yeah, if anyone else wants to share an opinion in the chat or now, please do. And if you're able to, you know, if you have further thoughts, you don't want to talk now or something comes up later, please feel free to email Florence. And, you know, Ollie will send a committee report and make sure that you're all copied on it. I send it to the board office and to Florence and Evie, the board chair, after the meeting. But I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate the time everyone takes to come to this meeting and to be on this committee. Thank you, Christina. And, you know, we all just want where we live and work and play to be the best possible, inclusive as possible, as affordable as possible. So, you know, even though sometimes it is discouraging, we are doing the work, and there's just more work to be done. So, oh, thank you for that, Christina, for sharing this rubric. But yeah, if there aren't any other comments, Florence, if you're able to do the attendance, I would really appreciate it.
Yes. Katie Ellman, Chair.
Present.
I just lost my page. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Vanessa Jones Hull. Christian B. Christina Chase.
Here.
Christina. Hi.
Present.
Bobby Feltop. Chris Hanway
Present.
called in. He's traveling. Chris, you're here?
Sorry, that was
Oh,
me.
no, that was you, Bobby?
Yeah.
Apologize. Yeah.
Sorry.
Chris,
Hanway,
I think he was here. If
he's
he
traveling.
Was a 347 number. And then it.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
He said he was traveling. I got an email. Raga M. Corrine Wood Hayes. Dominic Stiller. Corrine, you're here. I see you.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, good evening.
Hi. Pablo Zengas. And Clint O., our public member. Clint? There goes the roll call, Madam Chair. 1, 2, 3, 4 members present.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. I will get these notes to the board office and all of you by the end of the week, if not sooner. And feel free to email if you have any immediate questions or concerns. I will look. Thank you for sharing that example, Christina. I know of another one. So if there are any, if anyone happens upon equitable development rubrics or plans, feel free to share it amongst the committee or send it to Florence to share amongst the committee. But yeah, thank you all for your time. I look forward to seeing you at Astoria World Manor, whatever it's called now, next week. And have a good evening. Oh,
Thank you.
Phyllis, you're looking at PDF. What are you looking for?
I was asking if I can get the PDF emailed.
Oh, yes, Florence will send it.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.